In a world dominated by fame, flashing lights, and the constant buzz of celebrity gossip, very few stories stand out as truly transformative. But when someone as globally recognized and influential as Angelina Jolie makes a bold personal decision rooted in faith, the world stops to listen. Known for her roles in blockbuster films and her tireless humanitarian efforts across war zones and refugee camps, Jolie has long been more than just a Hollywood icon. She has been a voice for the voiceless, an advocate for justice, and a seeker of deeper truths. And now, her quiet but profound turn toward Islam has shocked both fans and critics alike. For years, Jolie has immersed herself in cultures far removed from the Hollywood lifestyle. From Syria to Sudan, Afghanistan to Pakistan, she has seen not only suffering, but also the unwavering strength and spiritual resilience of Muslim communities. Through these experiences, something shifted within her. What began as an observer's curiosity slowly evolved into a spiritual awakening. She didn't speak about it at first. She didn't post it on social media or announce it in press conferences. Instead, she searched, she studied, she listened. Angelina's transformation didn't happen overnight. It came through silence, reflection, and a sincere desire to understand a way of life so often misunderstood. While the media portrayed Islam through a narrow lens, Jolie saw its reality up close. The generosity of Muslim families offering their last meal to a stranger, the serenity in prayer, the sense of community that crosses all borders. These were the moments that began to stir her soul. As someone who has always fought for truth and human dignity, it was only a matter of time before she found herself drawn to the very faith that embodies these values so deeply. When she finally chose to speak publicly, the impact was immediate and intense. Critics were stunned. Fans were divided, but her message was not one of division or drama. It was of peace, purpose, and clarity. She expressed how Islam gave her the spiritual grounding she had long been searching for. In a world filled with noise and confusion, the call to prayer gave her stillness. In a life burdened by fame and scrutiny, Islam gave her privacy, humility, and meaning. What makes this moment so powerful isn't just Jolie's celebrity status. It's her courage to walk a path few in her position would dare to tread. In embracing Islam, she didn't just find a new faith, she found herself. And in breaking her silence, she didn't just make headlines, she sparked conversations, challenged stereotypes, and inspired thousands who might also be searching for deeper truth. This story is not about a religion forced or imposed. It's about a woman with the world at her feet choosing to kneel in prayer. It's about recognizing truth in places you least expect. And most of all, it's about transformation. The kind that changes not only headlines, but hearts. Angelina Jolie's journey toward Islam did not begin with a dramatic shift or a single life-altering moment. It was a slow, personal transformation shaped by her humanitarian work and the deeply emotional encounters she had across the Muslim world. Working with refugees in war-torn countries exposed her to the everyday strength and faith of Muslim communities. She saw families torn apart by conflict, but still clinging tightly to their prayers and their trust in God. She witnessed mothers who had lost everything but still showed kindness and patience, rooted in their belief. These experiences deeply moved her and planted the seeds of spiritual reflection in her heart. She often mentioned how she found a calmness in Muslim homes that she rarely experienced elsewhere. Despite extreme hardship, there was always a sense of peace, dignity, and community. It made her question where that peace came from. As someone constantly surrounded by the chaos of fame and the emptiness of superficial success, she began to envy that spiritual tranquility. She saw that Muslims didn't just speak about God, They lived with him at the center of their daily lives. Their actions, their generosity, and their respect for one another all pointed to a deeper understanding of purpose, something she had been searching for her entire life. But what especially touched her was the discipline and devotion she saw during the 5 daily prayers. No matter how poor or devastated a place was, she observed Muslims stop everything to stand in prayer. That moment of stillness, of complete submission to something higher, stirred something within her. She realized that even in the darkest of times, these people had light in their hearts, and that light was their faith. Jolie began to learn more quietly and respectfully. She didn't announce it or make it a media event. She simply started reading, asking questions, and surrounding herself with voices who could guide her. Her decision to embrace Islam was not influenced by pressure or popularity. It was the result of years of personal soul-searching, honest reflection, and deep admiration for the faith she had seen lived so beautifully in real life. Angelina Jolie's decision to embrace Islam was not just spiritual, it was also intellectual. As she dove deeper into learning about the faith, she found answers to questions that had troubled her for years. She was raised in a world where religion often felt judgmental or disconnected from daily life. But Islam offered something different. It provided clarity, structure, and a strong sense of purpose. She was especially drawn to the emphasis on intention, justice, and mercy in Islamic teachings. For someone who had always tried to make sense of the world's suffering, the concept of divine wisdom and balance helped her find peace. She was particularly impressed by how Islam honors all prophets, including Jesus, Moses, and Abraham, which helped bridge her understanding between her past beliefs and this new spiritual path. Instead of feeling like she had to abandon her past, she felt like she was completing it. Islam didn't erase what she believed before, it enhanced it. She found comfort in the idea that this was not a rejection, but a return to a purer, clearer understanding of God and life. Angelina also admired the role of women in Islam, especially the spiritual power and respect women are given within the faith when practiced correctly. She had seen firsthand how Muslim women carried themselves with dignity, strength, and grace, even in the harshest environments. Contrary to the stereotypes she had once heard, she now saw a faith that honored women, protected their rights, and valued their voices. This challenged everything she thought she knew and inspired her to re-examine how the media had shaped her views. Her children also played a major role in her journey. As a mother, she wanted to raise her children with a strong moral compass and a sense of spiritual grounding. She began teaching them what she was learning, not as a rule, but as an invitation to grow together. Her home became a place of reflection, prayer, and learning. Slowly, faith began to influence their daily routines and decisions. This transformation was deeply personal, not performed for cameras or applause. Angelina chose to keep it quiet, not because she was afraid, but because she believed that faith was something sacred, not sensational. Her journey to Islam was not about headlines. It was about healing, truth, and finding a deeper connection to the one who created her. Angelina Jolie's journey to Islam reached a turning point when she began spending more time with Muslim communities around the world. Her humanitarian work had taken her to war zones and refugee camps where many of the people she met were Muslims, people who had lost everything yet still held tightly to their faith. What struck her most was their unwavering patience, hope, and the way they turned to God not in anger but in gratitude. It was unlike anything she had experienced before. Even in the midst of pain and hardship, these people exuded a calmness and inner peace that came from their deep trust in God's wisdom. During her visits to countries like Syria, Pakistan, and parts of Africa, she witnessed how Islam wasn't just a religion for those she met. It was a complete way of life. From how they greeted each other to how they prayed and cared for their neighbors, everything had purpose. She started to realize that faith didn't have to be separate from daily life. It could live in every action, every word, and every choice. And the more time she spent with these communities, the more she felt drawn to that way of living. She also started noticing how Islam encouraged humility and accountability. In a world obsessed with fame and success, Islam offered her a different path, one where what mattered most wasn't how others saw you, but how your Creator did. This was refreshing for someone who had spent years in Hollywood, constantly judged by the public eye. Islam taught her that real value came from the heart, from character, and from sincerity. This touched her deeply and gave her a renewed sense of identity, separate from the spotlight. The simplicity of Islamic practices, like the daily prayers and fasting, also fascinated her. They weren't just rituals. They were reminders to stay connected to something bigger than herself. These practices grounded her in a way that no therapy or self-help book ever had. She found a new rhythm to her life, one that was centered around reflection, gratitude, and discipline. This wasn't a conversion out of impulse or influence. It was the result of years of soul-searching, questions, and personal experiences. And as Angelina quietly embraced Islam, she didn't just adopt a new faith, she discovered a new way to live, one that brought peace to her heart and meaning to her journey. Angelina Jolie's embrace of Islam stirred a global reaction, but what truly shocked the world was not just the conversion itself, it was what she said afterward. In a quiet yet powerful message, she expressed that she had finally found the peace she had been searching for her entire life. Her words were not dramatic or controversial, but deeply personal and sincere. She said that Islam gave her clarity in chaos, light in darkness, and balance in a world that often felt out of control. Coming from someone who had seen the worst of human suffering through her humanitarian work, these words carried weight. She shared how for years she had questioned the purpose of life, the reason for injustice, and the emptiness that often came with fame and material success. She confessed that despite having everything the world could offer, fame, wealth, influence, there was always something missing. Islam, she said, filled that void. It gave her direction, discipline, and most importantly, a deep sense of connection to God. She spoke about how the teachings of Islam helped her become more compassionate, more forgiving, and more aware of her responsibilities to others and to the Creator. Angelina also addressed the misconceptions about Islam. She urged people not to judge the religion based on what they hear in the media or from biased sources. She encouraged others to seek knowledge for themselves, to sit with Muslims, to listen, and to understand. Her message was one of peace and bridge building. She emphasized that Islam was not about hate or fear. It was about mercy, justice, and truth, and she wanted the world to know that. Her statement sparked discussions across the globe. People from all backgrounds began talking not just about her conversion, but about what Islam really is. Some were surprised, some were inspired, and others were moved to explore the religion themselves. For Angelina, this wasn't about creating a trend, it was about standing in truth. Her voice added to the growing number of people in the West who are finding Islam not through force or influence, but through genuine reflection and experience. In sharing her truth, Angelina Jolie didn't just make headlines, she opened hearts. After embracing Islam, Angelina Jolie didn't retreat from public life. Instead, she used her platform to highlight the beauty, depth, and humanity within the religion. One of the most powerful aspects of her journey was the way she began to shift her focus from celebrity-driven causes to faith-driven service. Known globally for her humanitarian work, Angelina's acceptance of Islam deepened her sense of responsibility and empathy. She started engaging with Muslim communities not as an outsider offering aid, but as someone who now shared in their faith, struggles, and values. She spoke about how Islam changed her perception of success and purpose. Instead of chasing accolades or public approval, she found fulfillment in sincerity, prayer, and acts of kindness that only God sees. This shift was especially noticeable in how she talked about family. Angelina emphasized the importance Islam places on motherhood, compassion, and respect within the home. She said that her relationship with her children grew stronger as she adopted Islamic principles like honesty, patience, and emotional discipline. The religion taught her that true strength lies not in control or dominance, but in gentleness and mercy. Another striking part of her transformation was her newfound modesty, not just in how she dressed, but in how she carried herself. She became more reflective, choosing her words more carefully and engaging in fewer public controversies. Her humility became a reflection of her inner peace, and she often credited the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for guiding her character development. She encouraged people to learn about his life and how his mercy, even toward enemies, became a model for justice and compassion. Angelina's journey showed that embracing Islam isn't about changing who you are, it's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Through faith, she rediscovered herself not as a celebrity icon, but as a servant of something far greater than fame. Her story resonates with many people searching for meaning in a chaotic world, and it continues to inspire those who never expected to find Islam in someone so famous, yet now so spiritually grounded. Angelina Jolie's journey to Islam reached a powerful point when she began speaking about the emotional transformation she experienced after embracing the faith. What truly shocked many wasn't just the fact that such a global icon had accepted Islam, but how deeply and sincerely it had changed her. In interviews and quiet moments caught on camera, she revealed a side of herself the world had never seen before: humble, reflective, and profoundly moved by the spiritual peace Islam gave her. She described how the Quran offered answers to questions she had carried for years. In her search for justice, healing, and inner peace, especially after years of trauma, war zone experiences, and humanitarian crises, she found in Islam a direct connection with God that required no intermediaries. This intimate bond with her Creator gave her the clarity and calm she had been missing, even at the height of her fame. She shared that Islam helped her overcome anxiety and fear by teaching her to rely solely on God's plan and timing. Another moment that caught the world's attention was when she discussed prayer. Angelina said the discipline of daily prayer helped structure her life and realign her priorities. It was not just a ritual, but a lifeline, a moment of silence in a noisy world. For someone constantly surrounded by cameras and public pressure, that stillness became sacred. Her tears while praying or speaking about prayer showed the sincerity of her new spiritual path, which moved many who had never seen that side of her before. What truly shocked people the most was her courage to speak the truth, despite the risk of criticism. She never portrayed her conversion as a media stunt or a phase. She stood firmly, saying that she found in Islam the balance, clarity, and compassion that her soul had always been searching for. Her courage and honesty became a testimony that even in the most unexpected places, like Hollywood, a soul can find its way to Islam and share that light with the world. Angelina Jolie's journey to Islam is more than just a headline. It's a story of courage, truth, and transformation that has touched millions. Her willingness to explore faith beyond the boundaries of fame and status shows the power of sincerity and the strength of the human spirit when guided by purpose. She didn't choose Islam because it was easy or convenient. She chose it because it spoke to her heart in a way that nothing else ever had. Her experience reminds us all that true peace doesn't come from the world's applause, but from the connection we build with our Creator. In a time where people often fear being judged for their beliefs, Angelina's openness became a light for those walking a similar path. She showed the world that embracing Islam is not about losing yourself. It's about finding your true self in the light of divine guidance. Her journey encourages others, Muslim or not, to seek knowledge, to question, and to never settle for surface answers. Because sometimes, the truth you find can completely transform your life. Thank you for being part of this story and for taking the time to reflect on a journey that proves faith can find you no matter where you are. Whether you're watching out of curiosity, support, or personal searching, know that every soul has a path, and sometimes those paths take the most beautiful turns when we least expect it. May your journey, like Angelina's, be one of truth, peace, and purpose.